Okay, we are live. Welcome back to another watch party. It is the Nets taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Hold on a second. Just turning the fan down. All right. Yep, we're all good. Okay. So, it is the final game before the All-Star break. And the Nets are in a pretty good state results-wise. However, that's not necessarily good for the tank. And we go into the final game before the All-Star break, playing a team who do have a couple of their better players out in Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. They both played last night and lost to the Toronto Raptors, which did help us a little bit in terms of the tank, but at the same time, it's not necessarily going to be long-lived, the benefits of that. In fact, if the Nets win tonight, it'll undo the good work that Toronto did yesterday in a number of ways, because the Nets will be on the same record as Philly if they win, first and foremost. And on top of that, they will, of course, steer a lot further clear of the teams that are below them. So there is a few different implications if the team wins tonight. Of course, there's still 28 games to go. However, it is going to... I've just completely lost train of thought. But you get what I'm saying. Winning tonight would not be a great thing for the tank, is what I'm saying. Chicago, of course, have also, they've offloaded a couple of their players, so their record's going to worsen. The Nets are probably a better team than Chicago on paper. So it's very possible that this team ends up in a play-in position, which is going to be a little bit odd. But they have won 5 of the last 6 games. The Nets, they are going for 6-7. And, in the first 6 weeks of the season, I think they'd only won 2 games. So the fact that, the fact that we have been able to just muster up 5 wins out of nowhere, mainly the 2 wins against Houston, and then, of course, beating Miami in the fourth quarter off the back of conceding only 9 points, it's sort of crazy. It's sort of crazy that that's what's occurred here. But, look, I think building a culture is important. Being mediocre is not going to help you a great deal, but I think in terms of setting the foundation, that foundation has been solidly laid, I do think. Because we've got a bunch of bums playing, and they are playing to win, really. So it's what you want to see. You want to see these players deliver. It, of course, could be detrimental to the tank, but do you think that's what the players are thinking about? I don't really think that's come into the forefront of their minds. So if they can keep playing like this, I think it's going to be admirable. And we've also got quite a few games to watch around the league. The Pels playing the Kings, the Cavaliers against the Raptors. Of course, this game is pretty important. Charlotte are playing Orlando, and the Wizards are playing the Pacers. So, at this point, the Wizards are probably that far gone, because we've doubled their win total. And then it's really the Hornets and the Pelicans are next in line. So yeah. Okay. Wow, that was a crazy voice crack. I've been busy watching the football, and by that I mean Premier League football this morning, and went crazy because my team got a last minute equalizer. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see whether my voice holds up or not. But the starters for Brooklyn tonight is going to involve the same group that started the previous match and the previous match before that. For the Philadelphia 76ers, I do not remember when Quentin Grimes rocked up, but he is starting with Jared Butler, who they acquired from Washington, Yabusele, Paul George, and Kelly Oubre, who I swear is like the only player on that roster who has remained in the starting lineup basically all season long. So he's at a pretty admirable sort of year. Hold on a second. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I assume we're about to get this one underway. Sixers playing a much more short-handed squad than we are, which can only mean one thing: a high probability of winning the game. That's for certain. But yeah, I'm just interested to see what this team puts up. If we do go back a game to the previous match this team played against Charlotte last time out, it was a bit of a long slog at the end of the game because we could not score for shit. But we had that sizable buffer earlier in the game. We had 6 players in double figures. No one scored more than 16, and no one scored any less than 11 for those players in double figures. Watford and Sharp combined for 27 off the bench. And then you had Williams with 11, Johnson with 14, Clax with 16, and D'Lo with 11. The team actually shot under 40% from the field and 24% from 3, but unfortunately for us, if we wanted to lose this game, Charlotte were much less respectable from 3. They were 19% and they missed 9 free throws. They had 14 more attempts and they got done in there. We had 19 offensive rebounds in the game, which really helped us out a great deal. And I feel like earlier in the game, our attack on the rim was pretty solid and we got the balance right, I do feel. So that's where we got the sizable amount of advantage heading into that fourth quarter. So we're just about to get this one underway, it seems. The Nets are gunning for their 20th win of the season. You can see in the standings, the Nets are only 3 wins back of the Chicago Bulls for that 10 spot, which is sort of mad. Philadelphia are on 20 wins, but they're only a game back. That advantage they have over us in the standings will immediately dissipate with a loss. So obviously the Nets are in a very good spot here to win this game. Philly this is their 33rd different starting lineup of the season. I think that speaks volumes about how many injuries they've had, or just the lack of continuity. That's probably where they've gotten this record from. Only the 20 wins on the year to this point in the season. They haven't been this bad for a long, long time. So the Nets gearing up for this matchup against Philly. I'm pretty certain we've only played 2 matches against Philadelphia this season. The Nets comprehensively beaten in both those games. The first game was a 15-point loss, the second a 29-point loss, and in both games they conceded upwards of 110 points, which has been their calling card in the last 2 or 3 weeks. They've very rarely conceded over 110 points. So this is going to be interesting. All right. Jump ball won by Claxton, and Johnson will rake in the tip off, and so the Nets will get into a set first. D'Angelo Russell with the ball here, and he's gonna attack on Butler and score with the left hand. I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of voice cracks here because my voice is a little bit scratchy. They're gonna play fairly through Paul George here, I would say, and Oubre. Yabusele is a big boy. He's going to back down Claxton, and the kick out to Butler, who drives in. The kick out to Oubre, who is set with his feet. He misses the three, and the Sixers a little bit pesty in the backcourt after we collected that rebound. The Nets will get into one here. Williams to Keon Johnson. Russell on the wing will pick up his dribble at the top of the key, and then tried the give and go with Claxton, but that was well read by Paul George. So ball inbounded on the baseline to Claxton by Russell. Johnson on the wraparound screen. He will get inside and try navigate his way through. It's off, but Claxton with the follow-up attempt and the conversion, having to pirouette to face the basket, and he scored over the shoulder. So 4-0 start for Brooklyn. Paul George looks to be getting guarded by Zaire Williams, which I like as an assignment because Zaire is troublesome with that length. And now Butler will shoot a three over Keon Johnson, and that hits back rim and a board by Cam Johnson, who is pressed by Paul George. 4-0 start for the Nets. They can build on this a little bit more here. Cam Johnson feeds to Claxton, who takes a dribble and then scored off glass, and Clax's too early makes. He's played some improved basketball recently, which has helped the record. And Oubre responds quickly for Philly, scoring along the baseline. They didn't even give the shot clock time to breathe. It was a very quick possession. Williams, cross court to Claxton, who fakes the handoff, goes at Yabusele again, but blew the layup. And the Sixers have the numbers and the size, and Oubre is swatted by Williams, but it will be a foul on Zaire. So 2 free throws here. Good start by Clax. Free throws coming up here for Oubre. That one's good. One more free throw for Oubre. That is good. So Oubre's got the first 4. Russell. Bit of passing around the perimeter here by the Nets. Claxton looks to be an offensive hub for the Nets. He's gotten a lot of early touches. Russell with 4 to shoot. He's going to step back. He's got to kick it out to Johnson. That's an air ball on the 3. And the Sixers will be halted in their tracks. They'll stop play. And now we'll resume through Butler. Across to Paul George, who shoots a 3, quick trigger, and that doesn't rim in. But Yabusele soars in for the offensive rebound, and the Sixers will try again through Butler down the middle. Kick out to the corner. One more to Grimes on the wing, who will go down the middle and pull up for 2 and hit the heel. And then Butler, nipping at the heels of Cam Johnson, was nearly able to pickpocket him, but not successful there. Keon Johnson's going to shoot another 3. That one's off as well. And Yabusele is doing a great job of boxing out early in this match, despite giving up a few inches of size to Claxton. Grimes down the middle, and the one-handed flush. And the Sixers, after conceding the first 6, have scored the next 6. So Russell, the crossover. Stagger step. Layup. Nicely done. Good bit of patience. Could have gotten a little bit flustered in that situation, but did well to make the right play. And now George, the kick out, the extra to Grimes, because Johnson was trying to draw a charge in the paint. Instead, it was a heads-up play by PG 13. And it will be an early timeout called here by the Brooklyn Nets. A couple of open looks given away to Quentin Grimes. So it will be a little stoppage in play as the Nets regroup. But those in the stream right now, welcome to you. Hope you're doing well. Last stream before the All-Star break, of course. So we have a week of time here to regroup and gather our senses before the final 27 games of the season. We're about 2/3 of the way through, which is sort of crazy because it's gone very fast this season. And for the Nets, it's happened in a couple of different phases. Of course, we had that early season phase where we started the year, very well. Got to a point where we were, I think we were 13-13 or something like that, close to. Or we were about 10-13 after about 20 games. But then, of course, the next lot of games, the next 23 or so games, we only picked up 4 wins. We had a stretch we went 4-20, which was pretty rough. But ever since that Hornets win, at the end of January, the last 2 weeks have involved 5 wins and only 1 loss to the Washington Wizards of all teams. So we've probably been helped a little bit by the teams we've played in Washington and Charlotte. I really think the damage was done a little bit earlier on in the season with wins to Memphis, to Milwaukee, both twice, and then beating the Kings, the Warriors, and the Suns on a road trip. That wasn't supposed to happen. So it's fair to say that, some unlikely wins occurred in the start of the year, and from that point onwards, we've been a little bit ahead of the pack. So that obviously you need to drop games against Washington and Charlotte, and instead we've beaten Houston and we've beaten Houston and we've beaten Miami. So, and that's on top of beating Charlotte twice, I also forgot Max Lewis is back for Brooklyn. He is available. He had a tibia fracture and somehow he's returned in only 20 games. It must have been a very minor injury, fracture, like a hairline fracture, because I felt like that injury was going to have him ruled out for the season. And here we are with 27 or so games left and he's available to play. Max Lewis on the bench. Derek Whitehead's been called up. We've only got 5 inactive players. The squad hasn't been this healthy for a long, long time. D'Angelo Russell will pass to Johnson, who's going to back into Oubre. Now Claxton up top. Russell getting harassed by George. We got 4 to shoot, and we haven't even attacked the rim yet, and that is going to result in a turnover. And Grimes down the middle flies in, and another flush in transition on the break. They've been absolutely lethal. Johnson, high off the glass, it's off. Claxton was able to save in an unorthodox fashion, and the Nets will recycle and go for a second opportunity here. 7 to shoot. Russell creates space over Grimes and hits the 3, and a case could have been made for a potential foul on the outside, but the referee wasn't having a bar of it. Butler picks up his dribble. Yabusele will shoot a 3 over Claxton, and he will respond as that one sees nylon. So, 7 minutes to play in the first quarter. Sixers up 14-11. They conceded the first 6. Russell's got an early 7, and he's trying to cook on Quentin Grimes, and he hangs and hits another one. A beautiful looking jumper. And so Russell's now got 8, should I say 9 points on 4 of 4 shooting. He accounts for 4 of the 6 makes. Butler will step back. That's not easy. It's off, and Johnson was not able to get 2 hands on the ball, and it will be Sixer basketball on the baseline. I love Russell's kicks. A flashy red. Looks like the Nets are going to actually challenge this. 6:20 to play here in this opening quarter. And I'd say the offense has been pretty good. Both sides. Ski Man, welcome to the stream, buddy. Hope you're doing well. The Wizards are up on the Pacers right now. The Hornets only down by 3. The Raptors down by 10 on the Cavaliers. That's to be expected. And no other games have commenced as of yet. All right. All right. Just trying to keep track of who's playing in the other games. Do we have... I just want to see if Şengün's playing today. Because he is in my fantasy team in day to day. Looks like he's all right. Okay. So, 14-13 start. Let's see if this is going to win or be successful on the challenge. Let's have a look. Ooh. I reckon that's not going to be a 1 challenge. It's close. A prolonged stoppage, this one, because obviously it's not as clear-cut as it seems. I'm interested to see what the officials deem it. They're still going. Okay. Okay, it's an unsuccessful challenge. There's not too many of those we've had to announce this season. Usually for every couple of wins, you're getting an L, but... Looks like D'Lo was trying to tell him to not challenge the call. Nets have won 31 of their 46 challenges, so usually it results in wins. But not on this occasion. Ball will get re-inbounded to Butler, and now Grimes. The wing is Edwards, who's had some good minutes for them. Butler hits the deck. Well done by Russell and Johnson to force a tie-up, and with 0.3 seconds, and D'Lo's pointed up at the clock, so he knows for a fact the Sixers just, well, it would take an absolute miracle for them to be able to secure a basket off this play. So Butler and Russell in a jump ball. I don't really think it matters whether you win or lose. And the Nets end up winning the jump ball anyway, so it merely matters for nothing. And so we're into the second half of this first quarter. Drummond is in the game for the first time, and this is not a center Claxton likes, purely because Drummond is an absolute bully. Russell. Cutter is Williams along the baseline. He's going to wait for Russell to come at him, and Russell hits another three. Jesus Christ, he's nearly outscoring the Sixers by himself. George, the driving kick. Well held by Williams. George shoots a three over the tough contest, and Russell gets the long rebound. He's feeling it. Three! Oh, it's off. A board by Grimes, who's going to attack Johnson, and there is a foul, and it will be attempts here at the free throw line. That looks to be a matchup that they're wanting to exploit early in this game. And it's a smart choice. Two free throws here for Grimes. And he hits the first one. Looks like subs are going to be made here. Williams and Keon Johnson off. Geordie's taken a little bit longer to make the substitutes. Watford and Wilson into the game for Brooklyn. Free throws converted here by Quentin Grimes. And so Russell will remain on the floor. He had an early exit to the bench in the previous game. Martin and Dayron Sharp getting ready to come into the contest. Russell goes again, and he's got 13. Should I say 14? Doughton Jr.'s in. For the Sixers, George remains on the floor. Drummond. Needing an option. George on the wing, 4 to shoot. Roller is Drummond, and he shoots over Wilson, and that was always going to result in a positive for the Sixers. So 4.5 minutes to play in this opening quarter. Claxton is going to drive and attack Drummond and Euro steps and gets blocked, and then he didn't realize that Grimes had snuck up behind him and knocked it away. Doughton layup is good. Clax just... Sometimes it's like he's in his own world. He doesn't actually have any awareness. He's got a bit of tunnel vision. Johnson off one leg is fouled by Edwards. And that's a little bit of the experience prevailing. 2 free throws here for CJ with a little over 4 minutes to play in this first quarter. Tosun. Dayron. Why did I say Dayron? Tyrese Martin. Coming into the game very shortly. So Tosun in. Johnson with 2 free throws here. And both are converted. And the lead is now gone. 4 minutes to play. Nets have got Watford, Johnson, Wilson, Tosun, and Sharp, the 5 on the floor. Sixers gonna play through George. They've got their entire bench out there. George bounces it into Grimes, who's had a great game so far. It's offline, but another offensive rebound. Edwards rolls it back out to George up top of the key where there's the most space. The roller is Doughton. He tried to bounce it into Drummond. It was good thinking, but poor execution. And now Wilson, Watford, pump fake. Doesn't shoot the 3. Out to Johnson. Corner tray. Tosun. Nope. Board for Grimes. The Nets have 3 back. And then Grimes just lost the ball out of bounds, unforced. So a turnover there. And so 3:15 to play here in this opening period. 3 turnovers each. Give and go. Beautifully played there by Watford, who used Sharp as an asset and was able to make the play off the ball to lose his man and score the 2. Drummond, man in the middle. Numbers collapse. Watford and Wilson. Drummond takes a tough 2 over Watford, and he did well to stand his ground and force the miss. Martin, bounce pass into Watford, who can, of course, facilitate. There's a foul on Drummond. That was a great little bit of hesitation there by Watford, who looked like he was going to shoot the 3, sucked Drummond in, and then attacked the mismatch. And Drummond was forced into a foul. 2:38 to play in this opening period. The lead is 2 for Brooklyn. It's been pretty even, this match, do I have to say. Yabusele's into the game. Oubre's also in. Grimes and George to the bench. They've been the two best players for them, I would say. Play resumes. Wilson has an open look. They're late on the rotation, and Wilson, well, those threes always hit the ceiling of the Barclays Center. It's that high arcing, and that one looked beautiful as it swished right through. The Sixers on a little bit of a drought at the moment, scoring-wise. They've conceded 7 straight. Oubre, crossover, drive, shoots with the left, and Tosan did well to contest. He took a hit to the face, and the Sixers blow the opportunity. They got the second chance, but ended up in the backcourt. Watford lost it going up, and good defense by Edwards. He's going to shoot a 3. He lost Watford, and that's a beautiful looking make to cut it to 2. So inside the final 2 minutes of the first quarter, Wilson's going to try his luck again, stepping into one from the outside. That is off. Oubre's going to push the pace here. Drummond does not need to be guarded from 3. Layup by Doughton. That was a little bit blind. It's off, but Drummond bats it back to Oubre. He's been known for that for years. Oubre drives inside and creates separation on Sharp, and it is going to be a shooting foul on Sharp. So good attack on the rim by Oubre. Free throws here for Kelly. First one goes in. Oubre to tie this one. 25. That one's good as well. So 25 all inside the final 2 minutes of this opening quarter. The Sixers have had 6 free throws. There's a foul on Oubre, and Tosan has taken a couple of hits. Oubre's been very aggressive. So Dayron, hand off to Tosan. Looking for the lob, and Dayron was a little bit late to arrive, but he was able to complete the sequence for Brooklyn. And it's back to a 2-point lead. Oubre. Now Edwards. They'll work it across court and find Doughton, who drives in on Martin. The bounce out to Yabusele to the corner for Council, who I think is in the game. That's number 14. God, it's an air ball. Oh, Dayron, you idiots. He's just launched it right to a Philly player, and Oubre completes it. Dayron, man, he's known for those rogue passes I understand he's trying to push the pace for Brooklyn, but you've got to know that there's a fair bit of traffic in there. Just wait for those defenders to go by. 6-second difference between shot and game. Watford attacks the basket and scores the floater. With 9.9 seconds left in the quarter. Looks like there may be a bit of a clock reset, actually. To tack on an extra 0.6. 29-27 the score. The Sixers can tie or take the lead as we will reach the end of the first quarter in a few short moments. 4 to shoot, 3 to shoot, 2 to shoot. Step back 3 over Sharp. And it is off. It is short. And so, Jesus. Quarter time lead for Brooklyn, 29-27 the score. And it's fair to say this performance thus far has been pioneered by D'Angelo Russell, who, well, we haven't even had a box score check, but we can very quickly update you on what D'Angelo Russell has achieved in this first quarter. 16 first quarter points for D'Angelo, 6 of 7 shooting. He's accounted for over half of the team's points. Claxton in there with 4 points and 4 rebounds early. You imagine he's probably going to pile on the stats in this opening quarter. He's taken 5 shots so far, so a little bit of inefficiency there. Can I just stop voice cracking today? The voice cracks have been a little bit gone a little bit crazy at the moment. Nets shooting 12 of 22 from the field, so that's a great mark early on. But the four turnovers and conceding 6 free throws is not the most ideal of defensive returns in this quarter, or not the most ideal of returns so far in this game. The Sixers 9 of 21 and 3 of 11 from deep, but their inefficiency there has been made up by their free throws. And I think it should also be noted they've gotten some good contributions from Quentin Grimes and Oubre, who have combined for 17 of the Sixer points tonight. No makes for Paul George yet in this game. So it's pretty clear he's fallen off the face of the earth in terms of, well, his ability, which is a little bit of a shame because he was so good for, or so good for whoever he was playing for, as simple as a couple of years ago. But unfortunately, that of course has fallen away a fair bit, and well, the Sixers, I think, will be wanting a lot more. A lot more. So, second quarter about to get underway. Lead is 2. If you are enjoying, make sure to drop a like on the stream and subscribe if you are new. We'll be back for Nets versus the Cavaliers. First game back after the All-Star break. So make sure to tune in and say hello. That should be an absolute blast. I'll be interested to see how, or like what version of the Nets rock up after the All-Star break, because Cam Thomas, Noah Clowney should be fit. Even Bogdanovic should be fit, but I don't imagine he's going to get playtime. Good backdoor cut by Grimes. Oh, Jesus Christ, that was close. That was about to be an A3 poster. Right there. Nearly an emphatic dunk. But Watford did well to meet him at the rim. And he got a hand on it. But used the body to get himself up there. Grimes misses the first free throw. That's their first miss at the free throw line for Philadelphia. Grimes makes number 2. And the lead is 1 for Brooklyn. So Nets have got to clean that up in the second quarter. They've been a little bit lackluster defensively at times, and it's forced that late rotation across, and of course the foul to save themselves. And Wow, Dayron Sharp with a great take after the initial miss. I thought he'd placed himself too far under the basket, but that's a very impressive offensive rebound and a pretty regulation make to make it a 3-point game. There's a 3-second call on Watford, so another free throw conceded here, albeit a little bit unorthodox. So that technical free throw by Butler goes in. Sixers playing shorthanded tonight, so there, of course, the rotations are a lot shorter for Philly. Quick breaks met with fair stints on court. Butler's back out there with Grimes, Oubre, Yabusele, and Council. So 4 of the 5 starters out there for Philly, excluding George. Butler, the acceleration, good knockaway by the Nets. Somehow Butler still had it, but wasn't able to score in time. Russell gets it ahead to Williams, who crosses up Butler and lays it up, and one! That was a very fluent movement towards the rim. And sometimes Zaires handles a little bit loose, but on that occasion, it was impressive. So it'll be 1 free throw here for Brooklyn. And that was kickstarted by D'Lo, who pushed the pace early. Got it into Zaire, and they were able to capitalize on that mismatch with Butler guarding Williams on the outside. 5-point lead for Brooklyn. I believe it's at its largest since the very beginning of the game where the Nets scored the first 6. It hasn't been any larger than that. Grimes will inbound to Yabusele. And now Oubre on the wing. Bounce pass to Yabusele in the corner. He's going to back down Sharp. He enters the paint now. Turn. And airballs the little hook shot. Williams waits for things to clear out. And D'Angelo Russell will go early in the clock here. Kick out to Williams. He'll hop into a 3. Get partially blocked. Sharp is there though. Right place, right time. And his post-game has improved as the season has worn on. And we're slowly seeing what we saw the early stages of last year. At the end of last year, he lost his way. But, you know, this year it seems like he's starting to get into a little bit more of a flow with more double-figure games. D'Angelo Russell will use that sharp high screen. D'Lo had an open layup, but he opted to kick it out, and Williams will have an open 2, which he doesn't get right. Sharp is there. Tosan had it knocked away, and Butler will get the steal, and he will run downhill, shoot over Martin, and score the layup impressively, and that's an important make because the Sixers had missed quite a few shots. Will come up empty on their offensive end. They've been great on the break. 8 fast break points. D'Lo is going to drive on Oubre. There's a foul, and Russell is going to get free throws. So D'Lo's done it all in this game so far. Free throws, 3s, and rim attacks, all with great balance. And he will get a trip at the free throw line here. So D'Lo with the first make. So 1 more free throw for D'Angelo. And that one rattles out. So a little bit unlucky on that outcome there. Drummond is back into the frame. How on earth has that ended up with Philly? That was the shittest pass I've ever seen. And Oubre just was poaching under the basket. It ended up with him somehow. Claxton is back into the game. D'Angelo gets blitzed. That's good defense. Martin is going to shoot a three. And that was rushed. Tosum with the board. He had that little bit more size. Russell. Williams three. Falling away in the corner. That's not easy. But that is the improvement for Williams this season. Drive by Butler. Martin with the swat. What? Foul? How on earth was that not a... That is highly questionable. Where on earth was the foul here? Oh, get fucked, man. Get absolutely fucked. That was not a foul. In zero worlds is that a foul. That's what they call marginal contact, my dear friends. 40-34 the score. So a little bit of luck headed the way of the Sixers. That free throw's off. Drummond wasn't able to get the follow-up, even though he did get a hand there. Russell. Looks like there's a foul away from the ball. And it will allow Johnson squared to come back into the game. Martin will sit, and so will Tosan. So Russell to trigger in. High screen. Russell. Extra. Johnson. That's got to be a foul. I thought there was a hit on the arm, but the referee has a blanket over his eyes. They try to feed Drummond in the post. He fumbled it, but he was able to save. And now Butler on the outside will feed Grimes, who steps into one. That is short. Rebound by Cam Johnson, who will take a few dribbles, get it across the half-court line himself. Screen set. Moving three this time. Yes, sir! And the lead is bordering on double figures now. Drummond gets it in the post. Kick out to George, who's back in. Claxton. Beautiful defensive recovery. We get the block. Johnson down the middle. Opens up the corner three. It's not going to matter, though, because it's Keon Johnson in the corner. Grimes. Drive and spin on Russell, but Russell was right there. Grimes followed up his own miss, but there were more Nets numbers there to crash the glass, and the Nets have the ball. And Geordie will call a timeout at the 7:01 mark of this second term. And so Brooklyn have started this one quite positively in the second quarter. I forgot to update the score here. Nets were up by 2 at the first change. And they lead 14-7 in the quarter. Defensively being a lot better. And the Sixers are showing the fact that they are shorthanded. D'Angelo Russell with 17 first half points. He had 16 of those in the opening quarter. But that has been met with some pretty good contributions in Claxton having a pretty active game. Williams has hit a couple of 3-pointers, or 3 and had an and 1 conversion. Cam Johnson just hit his first bucket of the game a couple of possessions ago, and Claxton, of course, with the 4. But off the bench, Day'Ron Sharpe is providing some great center play for us. 6 points and 4 rebounds in 6 minutes, with a couple of those rebounds being offensive, and then Watford and Wilson chiming in. Can I please stop voice cracking? I seriously don't know why I'm voice cracking this much. It's a little bit out of hand, but the Nets are shooting 50% as a team. They have had the 6 extra shots and have capitalized fully on that. 6 extra makes. The Sixers still yet to hit a 3 in this quarter. And, well, the Sixers, the only thing keeping them in the game right now are those free throw attempts, which they've had 6 more of. One of the main keys, though, in this second quarter has been the lack of turnovers, especially from Brooklyn. So we're definitely proving to be a much better outfit in this second quarter, that's for sure. Sorry to those I have not looked at in chat. I know we're tanking this season, but my extreme dislike of the Sixers has me wanting a W. Yeah, I can agree with that. Sixers are so cooked. Can't win against the Raptors or Nets and don't have a pick this year either. That's correct. They don't have a pick. Or it may be protected. Low-key boring game. Is this a tank-off or actual competition? Well, it's really however you look at it. It's down to an individual perspective. Nets of the Sixers guessing on defense for now. Well, it is a game because we are 12th and the opposition is 11th on the standings. So this matters for multiple reasons, mainly for the fact that the Nets are only 3 games outside of the play, and amazingly enough, this win streak has just brought them right back into contention for a play-in spot. So definitely did not see that on my I didn't have that on my bingo card for this season. The Nets have already hit their they've already hit the amount of wins that the bookies were guessing they were going to get. They had us winning over under 18.5, I believe, and we got our 19th win with 28 games left. So pretty surprising. The Nets double on Paul George and they force the steal, and then Oubre is going to get hit with the personal. That's great defense, and that has nothing to do with plays you keep or you trade. That's just a good little scheme there defensively to blitz Johnson and Zaire. Johnson's a little bit more pesty as a smaller guard. Williams has the length, and that was highly effective in forcing that turnover. The Nets starved of fast break points, but they do have an opportunity to get into a set here and increase the lead to double figures. They're also in the bonus, so they're being proactive in a number of ways. Russell lost the ball going up, and I reckon he was hit on the arm because he was reaching for there. There's a 3 for Edwards, and that 3 is off. A good contest by Cam Johnson. Williams to the corner for Russell, who is going to shake off that little injury from the previous play, but does not convert. Edwards to the corner for Doughton. George is going to step into one, and he's short again. He is still yet to score in this first half. They paid so much money for him. Russell protects the landing room. There's a foul. I don't know if it's on the pass or on Claxton under the hoop. It doesn't matter because it will be free throws with the Nets in the bonus. So 5:40 to play here in the second quarter. The lead is 9. The Nets have won 5 of their last 6 games. They're going for another W here today to make it 6 from 7 since the final game of January. So it's been a very good month for Brooklyn, and they are one of the form teams in the league, amazingly enough. Who would have thought that was going to be like words I would mutter in the month of February when we had 14 wins to the end of January? Watford back in. Same goes for Wilson. So Russell will sit down on the bench. Claxton makes 2. A rare feat at the free throw line without a miss. The Nets are going to full court press here. Nets on an 8-1 run in the last 3 minutes to extend that lead to 11, a game high. Sixers have not made a field goal in the last 3.5 minutes. Looking to change that is Drummond, and he does so successfully, going at Claxton, the much skinnier defender. Watford guarded by Oubre. Screen by Claxton. Johnson trying to create a little bit of space off the ball. He hangs and doesn't get the bounce. Drummond with the rebound, and the Nets will need to get back here defensively. Drummond the handoff into George. Drummond rolls and they look for him again. The touch pass creates a little bit of space. And Edwards with the crank. So 45-38 inside the final 5 minutes of this opening half. Keon Johnson is not going to look to attack one-on-one. Instead gives it to Watford again, who's going to look for the open man on the weak side. We bounce it into Cam Johnson in the corner, and there's a foul on Edwards. It's a soft one, but it's going to count all the same. And with the Nets in the bonus, as we mentioned earlier, Cam Johnson going to get a pretty... Well, he won't get a trip to the free throw line much easier than that. So 2 shots here at the free throw line for CJ. So 45-38 the scoreline. Johnson to expand the lead up to 9 with 2 makes. Does well on the first. 1 free throw imminent. One more free throw for Johnson. That rims out. Lead is 8. Doughton's going to go early. Drummond was open for 3, but we know how good he is from out there. Edwards fumbled the handoff. Tightly guarded by Wilson. And now the switch has Claxton contesting the mid-range, and Edwards gets the bounce. Watford into Cam Johnson. Now Claxton at the elbow. He's going to attack Drummond here, but Drummond does well to plant himself. Beautiful work by Keon Johnson. He lost his man off the ball, and there was an open lane for him with Claxton on the outside. Claxton will get the dime. Drummond will attempt a 3. I thought he was going to be too scared to do that. Obviously not. Johnson will hold. Guarded by George. Johnson will attack the basket. The lane clears up. He still scores. Even though George was with him every step of the way. That looked incredibly awkward. And Cam Johnson just showed that he was incredibly unfazed. And the lead is back up to 10. So, fairly surprising that CJ was able to get that to go. Beautiful backdoor cut there by Keon Johnson. Claxton, with good patience, bounced it into him. And with the left hand, was able to use the off arm to just clear that space a little bit more. Attack the left side of the hoop. It's a beautiful look. And the lead is 10. They have had an emphatic second quarter, the Brooklyn Nets. 21-13 in the quarter. And it's fair to say that we're getting some good contributions from everywhere on the floor. Nic Claxton with the 6 points, the 5 boards, the 2 dimes. Cam Johnson with 8 points. He has not shot the ball efficiently, but the free throws have helped his cause a little bit. And we've gotten 17 from D'Lo, who is currently sitting on the bench. Only the 13 first half minutes. The team is shooting just the tick under 50% from the field. And the 3 ball hasn't been shot all that well. But the Sixers, they've made quite a few less shots than us. And we've slowly closed the gap on the one advantage they had in the game, which was the free throws. They're only leading that category by 2 now. 3 of 15 from deep as well. They'd want to see that improve heading into the second half. 20 points between Oubre and Quentin Grimes, and Edwards has got a handy 7, but outside of those guys, there's really not too much to praise. And Paul George has only taken 3 shots. He has played 15 minutes. He has not scored a point. So I think that's testament to the way the Nets are playing, and also the fact that, well, the Nets don't have Tyrese Maxey or Joel Embiid to deal with, because I think it would be a bit of a better outcome if those two were fit and available. Around the grounds, now some interesting box scores to watch. The Pacers are down by 18 to the Wizards. Who on earth has done well for them? Kispert, 15 with 1 miss. Carrington's got 13. Jordan Poole with 18. So without Kuzma, they've actually looked like a better unit. They're shooting the ball superbly from 3. And the Pacers have really struggled. So it seems. Also, should mention that the Hornets, they are up on the Magic by 2. And that is despite them missing LaMelo Ball. Nurkic is starting for them as we resume this third quarter. Or second quarter, we will watch those box scores at the break. Wild layup is off by Oubre, which was pretty disjointed. Claxton took a hit. Bonner with a foul as Claxton was trying to receive the pass from the point guard. So 2 more attempts at the line. Claxton made his first 2. Impressively enough. Can he continue that consistency? I would say no, because that is all he is at the free throw line. Heavily inconsistent, and there you go. He's missed the first free throw. So what a surprise there. Claxton with 1 more attempt. And that one goes in. So 3 of 4 from the line for Claxton. The Nets now tied with Philly on free throw attempts. Butler up top. Tries to drive on Johnson. He's got that acceleration. Who the hell was on Oubre? They've just allowed another easy dunk. And I'm going to say one of Watford or Cam Johnson was responsible. Watford allows those way too much. Even before the injury, there were quite a few moments where he would allow backdoor cuts with ease. He responds nicely, though, with some off-ball movement of his own to lose Oubre. Gives him a taste of his own medicine with an uncontested layup. We've got a little over 2 minutes to play. The lead is 11. Butler going to drive on Johnson. It's good defense. There's another foul. And that seemed like there was absolutely nothing in it. But free throws here for Butler. So, right on the final 2 minutes now. First one's good for Butler. They've only managed the 16 second quarter points. Oubre's going to sit and probably won't return for the rest of this first half. Butler rattles in the second. Lead is 9. Watford uses the high screen. Pass to Cam Johnson. Catch and shoot 3. It hits back rim. The Nets crash the glass. Unsuccessful on the rebound. Edwards, the driving kick. George, 1 more to Grimes. Kick out. Edwards, 3 ball. Corner. No good. Board for Claxton. He's going to take it up himself. Fakes the handoff. Goes at Bonner. It's off. And he's able to get the rebound. Open lane. What the hell on earth what on earth were we doing? Watford just allowing a wide open layup. I think he was in 2 minds because he was going to free up the corner shooter. Didn't matter in the end. Johnson. Out to Cam. Claxton. Back to Johnson. It went off his knee. So the last minute has salvaged something for Philly. They were down by as many as 11. They can get it to half of that with a make here. Butler guarded by Johnson on the outside. He's going to cross him up, drive it in, goes at Watford. Wraparound pass was not on, and Cam Johnson will wind up with the steal and slow things right down. The Nets can execute a 2-for-1 if they are enthusiastic about it. Johnson's going to attack. Shoots the scoop. Bonner with the block. And they're going to get an open look as well in the corner. It's Grimes. It's wide open. Splash. And it's a 4-point game. 7-0 run in the last minute and a half. And so Bonner has provided some good minutes for them. 2-second difference between shot and game. So you wouldn't think the Sixers are going to be able to get a shot up. Watford's going to let the clock wind down. The spin move, the kick out to Wilson, the extra to Johnson. Bonner did not contest it. It's off. And Butler's going to have to heave one up from three-quarter court. Oh! Nearly was made by him, and that would have capped off what was a great end to that second quarter for Philadelphia. They scored the final 7 points and brought it to within 4. So the Nets do outscore Philly, but only by 2 points. Slightly undoing their hard work that occurred in the earlier portion of the quarter to get themselves out to double figure lead multiple times over. But that is the halftime break. I'm getting a little bit, I'm lagging a little bit. Lead is 4. Really don't know which way this game's going to go. The Nets have scored 53 points again, which this is our identity. We very rarely will score. We very rarely will score more than 110 these days. So we're well on track to do exactly that again. D'Angelo Russell, the only player in double figures for the Brooklyn Nets. He's got 17 to his name in only 13 minutes, and 16 of those came in the first quarter. The team is not shooting particularly well. They have missed 4 of their last 5 shots, only the 5 threes made in that first half. And we shot 11 free throws in that quarter, so pretty similar to Philly. Cam Johnson with the 8. Claxton mustered up 7 and 6 rebounds with a block in there as well. So a typical Claxton stat line right there. And Watford's got the 6 as well. D'Angelo, had a great game. +9 in the first half if we look at the plus-minus. Day'Ron Sharpe, only the 6 minutes. This is highly confusing because I feel like Day'Ron deserved way more minutes. And this is sort of the mindset that is confusing me a little bit, especially with like Max Lewis and Derek Whitehead fit and available. These guys need to get minutes over like a Tyrese Martin or something like that, because that is the future. Tosan probably deserves minutes, but Max Lewis and Derek, they are future pieces. You traded for them or you drafted them. Give them a few minutes. That's where I'm a little bit confused, because Martin and Tosan not offering all that much, even though they were a part of lineups that did reap some positivity on the scoreboard. So, I don't know. For Philly, Quentin Grimes had 13, Edwards had 9, and Oubre had 12, all shooting the ball very, very well. 50% or above. They made 4 field goals each. And they are shooting it as a team not too poorly. They closed the gap at the back end of the quarter. And even though they've only made 4 threes, as we've said, the Nets have not shot the ball too well themselves. So, overall, it's been a pretty good shift by Philly. They've gotten 6 dimes out of Jared Butler as well, who's not shooting the ball great, but is getting to the free throw line. And I think it also should be mentioned that the Sixers did not get a point out of Paul George in that first half. Mind you, they are missing Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, so I think they do want to see a bit more out of Paul George, because right now he's putting up an absolute stinker. 0 points, only the 2 rebounds, 2 assists. He's got a steal and a block, but really, they need him to do what he does best, and that is score the basketball. He is not doing that at all so far. Real question, what greener pastures was Drummond in search of when he left the Nets? Well, he left the Nets as an unrestricted free agent, I think. off memory. So I think it's just a matter of whether he wanted to return to Brooklyn or not. And I'm trying to remember the center rotation we did have. Well, I'm trying to remember who we traded him for. We got him in the Harden deal. Did we have him in that season when we went on like that 18 win stretch in January? Is my question. Let's have a look. So he got traded. And then I don't know when he left. I don't know when he left to go back to Philly, because I feel like he had a couple of teams in between that as well. Let's have a look. Okay, here we go. Traded. He signed with Chicago for 2 years. On only a $6 million deal. That's pretty crazy, to be honest. So, yeah, it's not like it was an expensive contract. I don't know why the Nets didn't re-sign him. They probably had another center in their rotation. Claxton had emerged fully, and I think the other key part of that was maybe Day'Ron Sharpe. They wanted to play him center minutes, and it wouldn't have made sense to play Andre Drummond. It would have been another DeAndre Jordan, Jared Allen situation, I think. Around the grounds, let's have a quick watch over what is going on around the league for games that somewhat concern us. The Wizards are still up on Indiana by 12 as we close in on the end of the third quarter. The only thing keeping Indiana in the game right now is the fact that Obi Toppin has scored 26 in 3 quarters on 10 of 13 shooting. Halliburton's the only other player in double figures. Outside of those two who have combined for 38, the rest of the team accounts for 35 points. So fairly poor showing by the Pacers. Pool's got 24 for the Wizards, and Carrington and Kispert are 15 each. So they lead that game. As like they've been a much improved team over the last 2-3 weeks. So I think Wizards fans will be looking up as they try to pile on a few wins at the back end of the season. The Hornets are down by 9 against Orlando, or should I say 12, as the Magic just hit a 3. That is to be expected. With no LaMelo Ball, they're fucking playing Alfred Payton and Nurkic in a starting tandem. In 2025, Taj Gibson is coming off the bench. Their team sucks tremendously. Banchero's got 24 for the Magic. So, yeah, they are... I imagine they're pretty content with how things are going, the Magic. They weren't convincing for much of the first 2 quarters, but they've done a better job in the third quarter. The Kings and the Pelicans. Now, the Pelicans were down by about 14, but they've gone on an extended run to now be all square with the Kings. Alvarado's got 11 and Williamson with 14. So their starters are doing all the dirty work. Their bench are stinking it up. I don't think they've got 1 bench point. Bruce Brown, the only 2 bench points for the Pelicans, but yet they are still in the game. No Murray and no Herb Jones for the rest of the season, so that's going to hurt them a bit. Who else is playing? The Raptors. Now, they probably concern us the most because they are a couple of games behind us in the standings, and they are getting flogged by the Cavaliers. Strus is 14 as a starter. Hunter is coming off the bench now. Merrill's got 14 off the bench for the Cavaliers. They've really got no weakness at all. Yeah, and the Raptors, I mean, they got 11 from Barrett. They're not even playing a bad team, but they're getting smacked up tremendously. And then there's just a few other games going on around the league. The Lakers are playing Utah, so that's going to be an interesting match. Houston playing the Suns. That's going to be a cool game, but no Devin Booker, so they're probably going to get absolutely killed. And yeah, it's just like, what is this starting lineup for Phoenix? Durant, Bol, Richards, Royce O'Neal, and Tyus Jones. I cannot imagine Kevin Durant thought that was going to be his supporting cast when he transferred from Brooklyn to the Phoenix Suns. If we want to talk about greener pastures, I don't think Kevin Durant has really reaped the rewards of I don't think he's reaped the rewards of trying to force his way out. Alrighty. So, this is a pretty big half. Pretty big second half, I would say, in terms of the way the tank is going. Alrighty. I'm just having a look at what people are saying. In the chat. Or not in the chat, on Twitter. Okay. Let's have a look. Paul George is so washed. I know. He just looks like a shadow of his former self. Forgot the Mavs traded Quentin Grimes too. I don't know what was the Quentin Grimes trade. Because he's had some pretty good minutes for Philly. He got traded for Caleb Martin. And Philly are also receiving a second round pick. Why the hell would Dallas do that? Caleb Martin ain't shit. Because I swear, first and foremost, Caleb Martin is injured. But let's have a look. Basketball ref. Because I reckon Quentin Grimes in his last few games for Philly, he's only played three games for Philly, but in each game he's been in double figures. He's not been awful. He's been pretty good for them. And this season he's averaging his 3-point shooting 40% from deep, and they've traded him for Caleb Martin? Really? That seems like a bit of a weird move, not gonna lie. I think Philly have found one there. Caleb Martin is I don't know. It's a little bit strange. Martin hasn't even played for a month. What's he averaging this season? 31 games. Shooting 38% from deep. That's not too bad. Only the 9 points per game. It really depends. Philly have got quite a few wings on their roster, so Makes sense, I guess. Half the Mavs roster is at this point. Yeah, the Mavs are cooked. The amount of injuries the Mavericks are carrying right now, it's crazy. Alrighty. Second half is about to commence, or very, very shortly. Oh my god, what the fucking hell? What the hell is this? What is this? I've just seen, if any of you follow the Barclays Center account, I urge you to go on there and see the post from 31 minutes ago. It's like Atlanta are playing hot potato with the backboard. Or it's like they're playing, I don't know what that drill is that you do where you like pass it off the backboard and then the next player needs to follow up and then the next player follows up and you keep passing off the backboard. I don't know what it is. That's incredibly funny though. Oh shit, second half bloody started. What the hell? Too busy looking at garbage basketball. We're underway and I'm about 20 seconds behind. There's a 3 for Butler and it is off. It's a board for Keon Johnson who will push to D'Angelo Russell. A good 17-point half and that 3 by Isaiah Williams is off. I'm 20 seconds behind, so just keep that in mind when referring to the amount of time left in this game. I will soon update that when there is a stoppage in play. Lead is 2 after Philly get on the board first here. Claxton. Wrap around for Johnson. No look to the corner for Williams. That 3 ball is off. So 2 attempts from opposite corners have been empty. Grimes. Lost the handle. George. Extra. Yabusele. 3 ball is short. Rebound Johnson. That's Keon Johnson. Pass into Williams, who fumbled the handle initially. Reckons he was fouled, but there was no whistle. Ref's gone quiet. Russell will shoot a deep 3. That's off. Claxton with the follow-up slam. There was no box out there. Claxton with the first 2 Brooklyn points of the second half. 14 second chance points for Brooklyn compared to the 2 for Philadelphia. George puts the head down, shoots with the right, and finally is on the board. It's taken like 16 minutes of being on court for that to occur. Russell. Attack. That was a bit of a poor pass there by D'Angelo. He put too much on it, and it will be Philadelphia basketball. So D'Lo's lost his way a bit after scoring the first 5 buckets that he attempted. George steps back, and that 3 is off as well. So George getting a few extra opportunities early. Cam Johnson, blow by and jam. So good early offense by the Nets. George was late on the closeout. He wasn't even aware that Cam Johnson had snuck to the corner. Butler, lob, Oubre. Geordie's going to call a timeout. And he's going to definitely rally his troops because the baskets we've given up early on, I mean, they've already got 6 early ones, Philly. It's been a little bit too easy, I think. Just a little bit. Around the grounds, I'm looking. The Wizards are hanging on because Mathurin has decided to start scoring the ball. Even though Kispert's got the 21, Carrington the 18, Poole the 24. You know, This is it's tightening up a little bit. A 9-point game there. Magic up by 16. The Knicks up by 8. The Raptors down by 25, and the Pels down by 6. So those are all the teams that really concern us. It's going to be an interesting closing to the game, I reckon, this one. Alrighty. 57-55. The score. 9:24 to play. So, if you are enjoying, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you are new. We'll be back for Nets versus the Cavaliers after the All-Star break. That'll be the first game. Alrighty. So, handy 2-point lead for the Nets. They led by as many as 11, I believe. Yeah, but you know, they've been in control for much of the game. Paul George definitely has the ability to just switch it on with the click of your fingers, but today only the 2 points for him, so he'll definitely want to see his numbers improve. And it looks like he's shown a little bit more aggression. He's already put up 2 shots in this quarter, and he had only put up the 3 total in the first half, so he's definitely looking to be a little bit more assertive. Just a little. And in the All-Star break, well, we only have one representative. And it is Cam Johnson doing the 3-point contest. The only 3-point contestants we have had in the last 5 or so years: Joe Harris, Patty Mills in 2022. That's fucking crazy because he was like 34 that year. And now Cam Johnson. I'm not sure if he's ever been in a contest before. The Nets come up empty on that trip. Sixers can take the lead or tie here. Butler try to find Oubre, who was in the dunker spot but wasn't able to find him. The Nets in transition. D'Lo misses the finger roll. And George with the rebound off hands. Extra to Butler. Trailer was Oubre, but Russell was there contesting. And so now they'll have to play a lot slower here. Grimes is going to shoot over Johnson, and that is impressive. Sixers up by 1. So the first lead they've had since the scoreline was 20-19 in the first quarter, of course. Russell using the pivot foot to effect. Claxton in the middle. We have 2 numbers open on the weak side. It's Cam Johnson, and he misses the 3. And the Nets have found themselves stranded on 57. George got it by Zaire. To the corner for Yabusele. He's going to pull the trigger. That 3 is off. Rebound by Keon Johnson. Across to Russell. It's an open lane for the Nets if they want to attack it. With Claxton in the corner. Russell's going to attack the basket, pick up his dribble and shoot off one leg and score impressively with the defender's hand in his face. D'Lo with his first bucket since the first quarter. Yabusele to George on the wing. He's got Johnson on him. The blitz arrives. Johnson with the knockaway. And the Nets get the steal. Russell. Cross court to Johnson. Cam Johnson was open in the corner, but they're opting to go with the more patient route. Johnson, the acceleration, and the layup off glass. Nets with the last 4. Grimes on the right wing. Screen set by Yabusele. To George. Touch pass into Yabusele. Johnson gets into the passing lane again. And he's going to attack Butler. Bounces it into Johnson. Great take. It was behind him, that pass, and Johnson was still able to reel it in. Keon Johnson's getting fucking G'd up because his defense has been fucking brilliant in this third quarter. In the last couple of minutes, I mean, the Sixers took the lead, but he's done basically everything for the Nets in the last 2 or so minutes. Contributed on all 6 points for the Nets. It's back up to a 5-point lead. And, yeah, we're hovering at a margin that's been pretty commonplace this season, or not this season, in this game. D'Lo's got the 19 points. Cam Johnson with the handy 12. Claxton is probably going to end up with another double-double. He's got the 9 points, the 7 rebounds, and the 2 assists. And Keon Johnson has 3 steals, a team high. We've got 9 steals in the game, and the Sixers, their turnovers have piled up in this third quarter, especially in the last couple of minutes. They've got 10 total. And look, the net starters are chipping in now and producing at a pretty high level. The Sixers have gotten 14 out of Oubre. Grimes has gotten 18. He's hit 3 threes, and he's got, well, without him, they are 2 of 18. So I think that tells you all you need to know about their 3-point struggles. But Nets are shooting the ball better and capitalizing on those extra opportunities they are getting. It's been pretty free-flowing. We have not had a free throw in this quarter after we had 24 between the two teams in the first half. And look, D'Angelo's playing a pretty big role. He's got 7, or he's shot at 7 of 11 from the field. Cam Johnson, far more inefficient. But yeah, it's been a pretty impressive showing for these two teams. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a little bit more lopsided one way or the other, but the Sixers have remained in the contest for much of the game. To their credit, I think it's even more impressive when you look at it from a standpoint of Paul George only having 2 points in the whole match. And I'll never remember that, or never forget, should I say. Never forget that game where OKC came to the Barclays Center in about the 2018-19 year. It was just before the Nets went on that unworldly run. The Nets were up by about 25 in the third quarter and just completely collapsed. They just completely collapsed, and Paul George and Russell Westbrook went crazy in that game. Claxton is averaging 3 blocks over the last 6 games. Of course, that's the stretch that we have been on this win streak, and before that he was averaging a block a game, so he's hit another level defensively and been a lot more active. Paul George guarded by Watford, who is in the game. 6 to shoot. George steps back on Williams, and that is a good contest and a tough shot. If anyone can make it, it's Paul George, but he has looked nothing near his best. Halfway through this third quarter, it's gone pretty quickly. Johnson was open momentarily from the 3-point line, but Edwards does well to recover. Johnson's going to shoot a 3, though, after using the Claxton screen. That 3 is off. So Cam Johnson having an off night. And Keon Johnson again reaching in the passing lane. He's just so quick on his feet. And even when it looks like you got a massive window to pass it through, Keon Johnson is very, very quick to reading those passes, especially if they've got a little bit more transit on them. Doughton bounces it into Grimes, guarded by Wilson. Claxton comes over to help, forces the miss. Bonner is in the game. He blew the layup, and the Nets do well to protect the space. And Jalen Wilson was the man who will pick up the credit of the rebound. Claxton leaves it for CJ. Across to Watford, who will drive on Edwards. Hangs and scores. With the right hand off the left leg, so a bit of an inside-out sort of play. 8-0 run for Brooklyn in the last 2 minutes. Bounce pass into Edwards, who will shoot the 2, and that rattles home for him. He is in double figures now. With 5 minutes to play. Tosan and Tyrese Martin checking in very shortly. Cam Johnson. Pass was a little bit wayward, but still has it here. And he has fallen over. I thought he injured his ankle, but he's okay. Claxton into Keon Johnson. We've got 3 to shoot. And what is he doing? He's shooting a moving through 3. That is not smart. Edwards early offense. Claxton with the block. Edwards gets blocked again by Claxton. Nets push. Watford with the take. And the layup. Defense leading to offense. Claxton with his 2nd and 3rd blocks of the evening. Dayron's getting ready to check in as well. But that's an emphatic way to end off your spell. Grimes, the skip pass, opens up the shooter on the weak side. It's Doughton who's trying to create space. 5 to shoot. Good defense by Watford. And the 2's off. Claxton does well to get the rebound. He's going to run. He's going to go at George. Hangs. It's off. He gets his own miss. Got blocked again. Followed up again. And then he flexes. He's just absolutely beefing up his stat line. He's gotten like 3 rebounds and 3 blocks in 30 seconds. To go with a bucket. And now George gets blitzed. And we've got a foul out front. And Claxton will go to the bench with a huge burst of energy. He probably could play another 5 minutes with the outputs he was providing. So a 9-point lead for Brooklyn. Clax is 11, 11, and 3 blocks. And we only looked at the box score a couple of minutes ago, but when we get back to it, it'll show you how much he's done in a short space of time. Watford gets the steal. The pocket pass was a little bit errant. The Nets have another 3. Nope. They're not going to shoot it. Tosin's going to attack and is short with the hook shot on the right hand. Doughton. Back to George, who's going to go down the middle and draws a foul heading upward. It's actually going to be waved off and remain on the floor here with 3:07 to play in the 3rd. With 1:10 to play here. 69-60. Russell will re-enter the contest. Remains to be seen whether Watford's going to be subbed off, which he is. Oubre's back in for Philadelphia. Doughton. Gonna drive in. 7 to shoot. Bounce pass into Bonner. Tries to go at Sharp and does so successfully. That's an impressive move. The little body bump to get himself well positioned to score over Sharp. Russell, crossover. And it's an illegal screen on Sharp. Typical. Called that time and time again in multiple NBA games this season. Let's see. It's a marginal push. That's a little bit of a flop. You see a lot of those every game, but 69-62 the scoreline. 3 minutes to play in the 3rd. Doughton is blitzed. Dayron with the recovery. Grimes back in. Picks up his dribble. Doughton. Across to Oubre. Jab step. Gets inside. Wilson comes over to help. And unfortunately for him, he's bailed out Oubre with 4 seconds on the clock. That was not smart. With 4 to shoot. I mean, Oubre had nowhere to go. You did not need to try to get the steal there. So 2:25 to play in the 3rd quarter. Neither team has shot a free throw yet until now. And Oubre knocks that first one down. 2:25 to play in the 3rd. Oubre converts both of those. Russell will get it in from Martin. So Russell, Martin, Sharp, Wilson, and Tosan. The 5 on the floor to close out this third quarter. Russell weaves inside, shoots with the left, and does well to find the little opening. So we're about to breach the final 2 minutes. Lead at 7 for Brooklyn. Doughton across to Quentin Grimes. The screen is not utilized. Grimes rolls it out to the weak side. Edwards, 6 to shoot, is going to back down D'Angelo Russell. Spin move, knock away by D'Lo with 2.3 on the clock. So this is not going to be particularly easy for Philly to get a good shot up here. I reckon that was a reach in, but let's get the benefit of the doubt. Ball inbounded. Oubre's got to operate quickly and does so off glass, but it's off. And a rebound for the Nets. So we can get it back up to double figures with a make on the 3, depending on what occurs there. Russell gets a foul. That is the strangest foul I've ever seen. They've called it a foul. I initially thought it was a lockup. That's what I initially thought. D'Lo was trying to call a timeout, and then they've called a foul. So that is a bit of a bailout, and then Dayron misses the 2, but is able to somehow end up with the offensive board. And the Nets will go again with 9 on the clock. Martin in the corner pulls the trigger. That 3 sits on top of the backboard. And Sharp's got another offensive rebound. 10 to shoot. D'Lo is going to pull the trigger over Grimes. How on earth has he hit that? Dayron with a couple of offensive boards. That's his bread and butter. D'Lo hitting a 3 like that. That was tough. 10-point lead. Why have I not started the clock? Oubre, the layup on the pirouette is off. Sharp with the board. Tosan will push. We've got 44 seconds left. I apologize. I'm trying to update it as we go here. Russell is blitzed. Wilson, Tosan, 3 in the corner. No. Another offensive rebound for Brooklyn. Martin walks a tightrope. Tosan is going to hold, and D'Angelo Russell thought about the 3 from the logo. He's feeling it. Tosan wasn't fouled. Got to attack it. 2 to shoot. 1 to shoot. Whoops. A little floater is converted by Brooklyn. It's a lead of 12. So the Sixers ended the first half very well, but the Nets have compensated for that at the end of the third quarter by going on a little burst of their own. And the Nets call a foul, or try to commit a foul, had a foul to give, try to stop the Sixers in transition. And so 13 seconds remaining here. Lead is 12 for Brooklyn. Dayron's going to sit on the pine. Zaire back into the game. So we're playing a bit of small ball here to close the quarter because they've only got Yabusele out there as their tallest man. Doughton, Oubre, Grimes, Yabusele, and George the 5 here for the final possession. George is blitzed. Doughton is there to shoot the 3, and that's badly off, but there was no box out by Johnson, and he's allowed Quentin Grimes to score on the weak side. 1 second to shoot. Martin gets one up, and it's off. That is 3/4 time, and the Nets are up by double figures for the first time tonight at the break of an interval. Only the 23 points in the third quarter for Brooklyn. However, they hold Philly to only the 17, so a good close to that third quarter by the Nets. My voice cracks still continue to plague me today. And so 1 quarter to play, lead is 10, and it looks like the Nets are destined for that 100-point mark again, but yet again, another opposition can't score for shit on us. And Claxton had a big impact in a big way. He went from 9.7 rebounds and 1 block to maybe 3 minutes later having 11 points, having 11 rebounds, and having 3 blocks to his name. Even though he's shooting 4 of 11 from the field, he's had a pretty good game. But the headline act tonight has been D'Angelo Russell with 24 points on 9 of 13 shooting and 3 of 6 from downtown. He is a team high plus 13. And even though the Nets are only 6 of 25 from 3, D'Lo's accounted for half of those. Very similar to the impact of Quentin Grimes. The Nets are 3 of 19, excluding D'Lo from 3. The Sixers are 2 of 20, excluding Quentin Grimes from 3. So it's pretty clear without those two, we'd have a lot less interesting game on offense. The Nets have made 7 more shots than Philadelphia. Turnovers plagued Philly in that third quarter as well. Keon Johnson winds up with 3 steals. I reckon most of those, if not all, were in that quarter. Look, yeah, the Sixers don't have a lot of scoring available tonight without Embiid and Maxey. And even Eric Gordon. I mean, Eric Gordon can make a few shots here or there. But not really any free throws in that quarter. So that's why we saw the scoring drop away for both sides. That was probably gifting the Nets a few more points. And even the Sixers for that matter in the third quarter. But as you can see by the quarter-by-quarter breakdown, it has dropped away. Oh, for fuck's sake, Washington. Not down. Up by 3 points on Indiana. Typical shit, man. Typical shit. If you are enjoying, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you are new. We'll be back after the All-Star break for Nets versus Cavaliers. First game of, well, the run home to the end of the regular season. The lead is 10. 76-66 the score. Tosun, Watford, Sharp, Martin and Williams, the 5 on the floor. Watford takes it in. Foul. Isn't able to get the bucket. It will be free throws, though, for that man, Trenton Watford. Typical shit by the Washington Wizards, though, man. Typical shit. The Magic got the victory over Charlotte, so that's not remotely surprising. Watford makes the first free throw. Oh, for fuck's sake, it's all tied up between the Wizards and the Pacers. 78-66 the scoreline. I'm probably going to put that game on, I think, while this one transpires, at least the start of the fourth quarter. Butler's in the game for them. And met at the summit by the Nets. And they'll have a chance to build on this lead. However, that is also turned over to a similar effect. The Sixers gather in the paint. The kick out to Edwards as the Nets numbers collapsed and that 3 is off. The board secured by Edwards, who was the man who ended up shooting that ball. He got the rebound at the 3-point line. Edwards off one leg, scores for 2. Halliburton's just hit another deep 3 to give the Pacers the lead. Tosun gonna kick it out to Martin, who was open in the corner. That freed up 3 is good. 13-point lead. The Wizards just can't make a fucking bucket for their life. What a surprise that is. Nets have only made 7 threes in the game. That was number 7 right there. Getting it out to, I believe, what is a game-high 13-point lead. Halliburton is feeling it. It's off. Another bucket by Butler at the elbow. Wizards are still in the game. Sar's going to shoot a 3. Oh, God, that's bad. Watford with the backdoor cut. Philly there to save. After it was intercepted there by Oubre, who got a hand in. Yabusele will bounce it into Drummond. He's guarded by Sharp. Picks up his dribble. Multiple pump fakes were unsuccessful. He's got to kick it out, and Zaire read the pass well. They got 5 to shoot. Edwards is going to need to create, and he does well. He got Williams in the air, but it was short on the jumper. And then multiple Nets numbers are able to collapse the rebound. Sharp is their back door. Martin goes himself. And that was a pretty audacious attempt. The Wizards are still in the game. Butler. Blocked by Watford, who gets it. It's all tied up, 118. The Nets have a 4-on-1 break meantime, and it's a Watford alley-oop layup. And it's Martin who gives that one to Watford. That was beautifully played. Oh my god, the Wizards can win. Oubre to Yabusele as we close in on the final 9 minutes of the quarter. Meanwhile, around the grounds, 30 seconds to play. The Wizards are about to put one up. They've got to put one up. 6 to shoot. The Nets just got a steal. Poole hangs. He's got the 2. He gave the Wizards the lead. The Pacers can go for the lead or the tying basket. Jordan Poole has them up 120-118. Meanwhile, the Sixers up or trailing by 13. Drummond the roll. The layup is off. Dayron a good contest. He's had some good defensive stops in the last couple sequences. 83-70. Watford is not going to do anything, apparently. Geordie's called a timeout. And so Nets will have the basketball up 13 with 8:21 to play at the point of resuming the game. So the Nets well in command. The Sixers have struggled in the second half to score only 21 second half points so far. So not really remotely surprising that the Nets have been able to build on this lead. Granted, they didn't need to do anything special offensively. It's just the defense is working wonders again. In the second half, the steals, the blocks have piled up. And that's really assisted the Nets in large ways. So I'm just watching the Wizards game. Poole's got 35, who just scored the leading bucket for the Wizards. Kispert 21, Carrington 18, George 14, Brogdon 12. And the Pacers can go for overtime, or they can go for the win if they, try a 3. I can already see Halliburton's probably going to shoot the 3. Wizards have 2 timeouts. The Pacers have 23 seconds to make a bucket. So this is great timing, this timeout, in our game, because now I can watch this final possession. It's Nembhard with the ball, guarded by Kispert. It's going to be a Halliburton play. Nembhard takes it in. He lost the ball. He was fouled by Kispert or Sarr. I don't fucking know, but the Pacers in the bonus. So the Wizards will have a couple of timeouts. So 2 free throws here for the Indiana Pacers. Nembhard needs to make both. Makes the first. So 15 seconds on the clock in the fourth quarter. The Wizards will have a chance to win the game, provided they can get this offensive rebound in the case of a miss. Nembhard made both, so we're going to get a timeout. Around the grounds, the Nets are 2.5, or I didn't mean to say that. The Nets are 2.5 games back of the 10-seeded Bulls. They're only a game back of the Sixers, so if they win tonight, which as it currently stands, that will be the case, they will be on the same record as Philadelphia. I can't wrap my head around how that's occurred. So Nets are going to resume at the 8:21 mark with the ball, up 13. Sharp on the floor with D'Lo, Keon Johnson, Zaire Williams, Tosan. 6 to shoot. D'Angelo's blitzed. Needs help. Johnson, sharp man in the middle. Layup. Beautifully played. Every net player not holding onto the ball for too long. It's incredibly hard to defend. Beautiful work by Zaire, who was trying to plead his case for an arm extension by Paul George, and then was able to deflect the ball out of bounds as Paul George was trying to feed the open man. 12 steals for Brooklyn in this game. That wouldn't be all that close to a season high for Brooklyn. Edwards, good bit of hesitation, got by the man, and there is a knockaway out of bounds again. 4 seconds to shoot. They'll do the inbounding from the baseline. Brooklyn up by 15. It'll be Philly ball though. Edwards needs to look for a man. Only 4 to shoot. They're going to find Grimes in the corner, who's going to sidestep and hit a 3. And that cuts it to 12. Meanwhile, Jordan Poole's got it with 6 seconds on the clock, and there's a foul to give. 8 seconds for the Wizards to achieve a bucket that would give them the win. Their 10th of the season. D'Angelo Russell. Bounce pass into Sharp. To Johnson in the dunker spot, and he throws it down. Meanwhile, the Wizards, 4 to shoot. Jordan Poole. Oh my God, that is a tough 3, and it's short. That's such a shocking possession. They literally just needed a 2-point make, and instead they're going to have to live for extra time basketball. God, Keon Johnson got fouled there. What the hell was that? Lead is 14 points. We've got another foul out front. There's been a couple of whistles in the last couple of moments. Little over 7 minutes to play here in this fourth quarter. The lead is 14 points. 87-73. George is back out there with Oubre, Grimes, Edwards, and Bonner, who's got it here, and we'll give it to Grimes, who's been their number 1 option today. Oubre going to drive on Russell. Oh, wow. That was impressive. Nic Claxton wasn't phased that he had planted himself in the paint and went vertical, got the 2 to go. Back down to a dozen. Cam Johnson's back out on the floor, so all 5 starters on the floor for the Nets. Russell, the screen. Drive in. Picks up his dribble. Shoots with the left. It's a block by George. The Sixers will run. Grimes was probably fouled, but the officials did not call it. George to Oubre in the corner. Splash. We're back into single figures. So I believe they've scored the last 8 of the game. And that has sliced the deficit in half. Watford's getting ready to come in at the 6-10 mark. Johnson just lost the ball. And Edwards with the steal. Oubre, the kick out. Grimes, one more to Oubre. And I'm pretty certain he stood on the sideline. And Geordie is a little bit bewildered. I'm pretty sure Oubre, yeah, he was fucking out of bounds by a long shot. And he may have just pitched himself inbound just before that ball landed in his lap. So it's down to a 7-point game. I think this is a 10-0 run, if I'm not mistaken. It was 70-85. So a 10-2 run has got it within 7. Definitely going to make things interesting down the stretch, because I did see Watford, and Wilson at the scorers table. So maybe D'Lo and Cam Johnson to the bench. So this could be a tanking masterclass here. We may limp to the 100 points again, I reckon. Open look for Halliburton. That's off. Okay. So this is a very interesting ending to this game, I feel like. It's just like the last game. We were up by 22 and conceded the last 14 of the match. So we tried to actively tank, but it was a little bit too late. Miami are beating OKC by 14. Now, I don't know who the hell is playing for OKC, but if Shea is playing, that's an impressive feat. God, how the hell have the Pacers hit that bucket? Wizards are going to be pretty stiff to lose this one, I reckon. So, 2-point lead for the Indiana Pacers. Meanwhile, the Nets up by 7, but there is still half a quarter of action to play. God, Jordan Poole is cooking. Such a skillful move to get by Halliburton. The Knicks have scored 104 in 3 quarters and are only up by 3. That's also impressive. 87-80 the score right now in this Nets fixture. God, Halliburton's trying to cook on the taller defender, and he did so brilliantly. So 87-80. Paul George has been bloody quiet. I think he's only got the 2 points in the whole game. Sixers on a 7-0 run in the last minute. So it looks like Zaire and D'Lo have found their way to the bench. Cam Johnson with a beautiful cut down the middle, and Claxton with the dime. Loving that from Clax. He used to be a point guard in high school, so he's got the ability to be able to facilitate, and it helps to play through him. Bonner, man in the middle, gonna body bump Cam Johnson. It's great defense. He knocked it away, and he ran out of time. And the bench is loving that effort from Cam Johnson, who was giving up a lot of size in the weight room. Bonner is a big boy. But Johnson wasn't having a bar of it. Lead is 9. Trendon Watford on the outside. Now Cam Johnson to Keon Johnson. Claxton going to set that hard screen and roll to the rim. And he just lost the basketball. Oubre, I swear he stood on the sideline again, but there was no call on that. George. Bounce pass into Oubre. Scores with the left. And he got to his spot way too easily there. The lead is 7 with 4.5 minutes to play in the fourth. Watford. Spin. Shoots on Edwards. And scores with the right again. We've relied on Trendon Watford late in the last few games. And he's, well, yet again, come up big on that possession right there. Watford's going to get that responsibility again after the Nets force a Grimes miss. Johnson opts to not step into a 3, instead handing it to Wilson. It's off. Johnson gets the offensive board. Keon Johnson 3. Nope. He shot the ball hideously in this game. Oubre is a corner 3. That is good. It's back down to 6. Oubre's got 28 in the blink of an eye. He's leading all scorers. So, closing in on the final 3 minutes, and the Sixers are within a couple of possessions. Johnson. Now to Wilson. Claxton fighting for position, and he's fouled by Bonner. So 3:24 to play in the fourth quarter. 9 to shoot, but that will be reset to 14. Oh my god. What are the fucking Wizards doing? Ball inbounded here. Nets playing within tight quarters. Claxton is doubled. Shovels it out. Johnson. Kick out to the corner for Wilson. 3. Yes, sir! And we've got a timeout. That's a massive bucket. And Nick Nurse is going to call a timeout. I believe that's the use it or lose it. And so that gives the Nets a little bit more cushioning. I think they'll be a lot more comfortable now. God, the Pacers are absolutely killing Washington now. So 128, 122, the scoreline in that game, and Matherin's just absolutely taken the game by the scruff of the neck. But meanwhile, in this game, the Nets are up by 9 points. And we've got just a little bit over 3 minutes to play. D'Angelo Russell with the 24 points. But there have been some other worthy contributors. Trendon Watford with 3 steals to go with 16 points on 7 of 8 shooting in only 21 minutes. That is an impressive stat line. Cam Johnson's got the 14, but not one of his most efficient nights. Jalen Wilson with a couple of big hits from 3. And Day'Ron Sharpe ending with 8 points, 9 rebounds, and a steal in only 14 minutes. So these are some very productive stints from a number of bench players, which is pretty impressive. All right. 3:12 to play in the fourth. We'll see what this turns into. Look, if the Nets missed that 3-pointer that Wilson took, I think that would have definitely opened the door for Philly to take the advantage. If you are enjoying the stream, make sure to drop a like, or have enjoyed the stream, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. If you are new, we will be back for Nets versus the Cleveland Cavaliers after the break. The All-Star break, that is. So all right. So 94 to 85. The score, 3:12 to play. In case you've missed it, Nets have led for much of the game. Paul George has been well held. He's actually been merely an afterthought. Edwards, Grimes, and Oubre have been superb for them. Grimes to George, drive in, blocked by Claxton. And I reckon the claim is that it's actually gone off Paul George. Claxton is going to get credited with the block. Cam Johnson's going to sit down. And it looks like he's going down to the locker room. So there may be a little niggle there. Watford got decked. The 3 by Grimes. He skies over Johnson. Oh, you fucking idiot, Keon. What a dumbass, bro. Fouling on the 3. I mean, that is just an ultimate tanking effort. They're going to look to see if this is a flagrant. It's gone from not even being Philadelphia ball technically to this. Oh, gee, that is... If they're going to call that a flagrant, I mean, the game's gone. He's barely extended the leg. There's not much in that. But man, he's had some stupid shot contests this season. Feels like he fouls on the 3 more often than not. That's so incredibly minor. If they call that, that's a bit of a shambles. Wait. The Wizards game... Hang on a second. The Wizards have gotten it to within 3, and they've got free throws at the line here. But it doesn't seem like they've got a timeout remaining, so it's the smart play. Poole's got 40. So we've got a review. Definitely 3 free throws, but it could be flagrant free throws here. Jordan Poole has made the first free throw. Let's have a look. What do they call this? Are you fucking serious? For fuck's sake, man. He's so fucking useless with these shot contests on the outside. So a flagrant foul, they're going to get shots and they're going to get the ball. So this is the potential to be like a 4-point play. So Grimes will take 2 at the line and brick the first. He'll get 1 more attempt. Well, I believe because it's 3 free throws, he has 3 attempts to make 2. Grimes with 1 more look here. That one's good. No, so he gets another look. So 94-86. 1 more free throw imminent. And that one is off. So 1 of 3 at the line. So no Cam Johnson to close this game out. D'Lo's back in. Sixers get into a set. Grimes picks up his dribble. Oh, you absolute fucking donut, Keon. Another personal foul. Cam Johnson's back out there. Keon Johnson, mate, he is loving a foul in the late game. Grimes is going to get an opportunity to redeem himself. He was 1 of 3 on the foul from the 3-point line. He gets fouled again, and he'll take 2 more. Keon Johnson's going to sit down after some abominable defensive contests. So 2:44 to play. Lead is 7. 1 more free throw here, though, comes for Grimes. And that is good. So 6-point game. Grimes with 5 free throws in quick time. Ball gets inbounded to Claxton. D'Lo nearly turns it over. That's well done by him, though, because he was getting a lot of attention. Watford's going to attack Edwards here. The scooper. It's a foul. And Claxton's claiming that it was a goaltend. Let's have a look. Was he right? No. That is not a goaltend. Man, the Pacers are making a meal of it here. 2:30 to play. Watford at the line converts that first one. 95-88. Watford's got the 17 points now. And he converts both. So lead up to 8. 2.5 to play in this fourth quarter. George will inbound to Oubre, who is guarded by Johnson. They will leave it for Grimes. And now hand it to George, who is blitzed by Claxton and Johnson. Johnson rips it away. It's a 2-on-1 break. And Johnson with the finger roll. That's excellent defense. Meanwhile, Siakam's just missed a free throw, so the Wizards can go for the win. Grimes bounces it into Oubre. The swap by Claxton. And as we enter the final 2 minutes, the Nets will hold. They are in absolutely no rush. That's block number 4 for Claxton. Watford looks to Jordi Fernandez, who calls out a play. Watford is doubled. D'Lo will shoot a 3. That is off. Wilson gets the long board, and the Nets can chew up more clock. The Pacers, meanwhile, are up by 2. Pool's going to attack the rim and scoop up a wild layup, which is off. Russell, pump fake, kick out. 3 by Wilson as the clock expires. He got it. And that's going to be game. Meanwhile, the Wizards have just fucked it up. Jordan Poole with a wild layup attempt to tie the game. I don't know why he didn't do that in the end of regulation. Well done by Cam Johnson. That blitz right there in the rip away which allowed the Cam Johnson leak out. That sums up how we've defended Paul George. Superb defense today on Paul George. And then you've got D'Lo drawing into defenders. It leaves Wilson open, the late contest. And just as the clock expired... Oh, is that three going to count? No, it's not. So we're going to have to retract those 3 points. And the Nets are back under 100. Siakam kills the game with the Pacers up 4 with 5 seconds to go. Unless we've got a freakish accident occurring. Yep, that'll be it. So 1:19 to play. The lead is 10. This is going to be another opponent the Nets hold under 100 points, which is something they barely did in the first 47 games. They've nearly done it in every single game since. It's correlated with a boost in defense by Nic Claxton. The Sixers are going to have to go very quickly here. They've got 80 seconds. They're down 10. Grimes shovels it out. Nearly turned over. A loopy pass into Oubre. Guarded by Cam Johnson. Oubre's going to attack. And he's fouled by Cam Johnson with 1:04 on the clock. So Oubre's going to crack 30. This has been a quietly brilliant showing by him. So Oubre with 2 at the line, 28 points, gunning for 30. Oubre hits the first free throw. And Bono is going to come back into the game. 64 seconds on the clock. If you are enjoying the stream, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you're new so you can stay notified for when I go live after the All-Star break, which will be as many games as humanly possible. 1:04 to play in the fourth quarter here. The Nets are up by 8 with that Oubre conversion. And the Sixers will guard the inbounder. And they've got to get it in. And they bounce it into Watford. Nets have only got a timeout remaining, so they've got to be smart with it. We've got to get it across, and we do in the nick of time, and we find the space, which means that we can chew up a lot of clock here. Sixers not opting to foul. They are down 8, and we can run it down to 40 seconds, basically. Watford, good find. Claxton, the open man under the hoop, and with 43 seconds left, that is the exclamation point on what has been a brilliant game by Nic Claxton. I mean, he wasn't really playing a formidable opponent at center because Embiid was out, but Claxton sometimes disappears against these weaker opponents and plays down to the opposition, but it's been a great performance by him on the defensive end, on the offensive end, and not just down to him scoring lobs, but also facilitating and, you know, being that offensive hub that we definitely require from him, because I guarantee you we would have practiced that many times over in training camp and preseason, and with all those practice reps that we get. So 44 seconds to play in this game. The lead is 10. The Nets are in pole position to tie the Sixers record. So, yeah, with a win today, you can see the standings. Sixers are 20 wins, 33 losses. We are 19 wins and 34 losses. But obviously, both teams will be 20 wins and 34 losses by the end of the night. And we will be within a game and a half, or a game, or 2 games, of the Chicago Bulls. So that's not going to be great. Excuse me. That's not going to be great in the sense that the tank's going to be in a little bit of a shambles, but another win here. Potentially Max Lewis gets the knockaway. He's playing for the first time in a little bit of time. He only played 1 minute in his first appearance for Brooklyn because of that tibia fracture, but he's out there. And the Sixers are closing with their starting group. Grimes goes quickly and scores. And this could actually be interesting if we're not careful. Oh my God, mate. This bench group are going to fluff it because the Sixers are playing full court press. They are applying a lot of ball pressure, and rookies are definitely, or less inexperienced players who barely get reps, are bound to turn this over. Grimes for three. It's off. And that would have made it very interesting. Whitehead needs help, and Geordie's just going to call a timeout with 29 seconds remaining to give his second-year player a way out. So, not long left in this game now. Around the grounds, the Knicks and the Hawks are playing a high-scoring affair. The Bucks up on Minnesota. Miami still beating OKC and can confirm Shea is playing. The Pistons are beating the Bulls, so they could be in the mud. We could be closer to them by the night's end. And the Jazz are also playing. They are down to the Lakers by 2. Portland also down by 16 on Denver. So a lot of games occurring. Charlotte lost. The Wizards lost. And the Raptors lost. So a win tonight for Brooklyn is fairly damaging. But I tell you what, it's another game where you cannot put this down to the offense. It's the defense. And probably for the... Well, it's probably just unfortunate we're playing a team that have injuries and they're a lot weaker. Like Embiid and Maxey are their 2 best players. We still don't have Cam Thomas back yet, so we're going to have a pretty good squad when we return to full fitness, our whole team, which is not going to be great for the tank either. We could be pushing 30 wins. I don't know how many wins we got last year, but it's very possible we could have a better record by the end of... What? How the fuck? How can you travel on the sideline? What the hell? I didn't even know that was a rule. You can't move on the sideline. So 29 seconds left. Tariq's just turned it over in the most careless fashion possible. They get it into Grimes, who's going to accelerate to the rim and lay it up. They used a very small amount of clock. Whitehead's... Oh my God, he's turned it over. And Grimes lays it in again. It's a 4-point game. We have no timeouts. We can't even get our bench in. Or our starters back in. We've got to get it in. Tosan... Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. The Sixers are going to challenge this. They're down by 4 points. They've scored six points in about 10 seconds. They ran the bench unit like the third stringers with 40 seconds remaining. Fucking hell. This is like... This is, well, the Sixers are using their challenge here. They will get the timeout back if they win the challenge, but I think it is going to be a foul. Jesus Christ, this has appeared out of nowhere. But you just knew it was going to happen. Full court pressure for these young guys. Like, Tyrese Whitehead does not have... like, he's barely played this season. He's not going to be able to cope with the amount of pressure that is on him in the backcourt. Like, you've got the 8 seconds to get it across the half-court line. You've got 2 players in your grill. So, you're very likely to turn this ball over. It looks like the Nets are going to have to bring a couple of their better players back in. Is this going to be called a foul? It's going to be a foul. I don't know if the Nets are in the bonus, but... So the Sixers are out of timeouts now. Not that that's going to phase them because they've forced like a lot of turnovers in the backcourt in the last minute. of game time. But now with that stoppage, the Nets can bring all their starters back in and prevent this tank. 196 the scoreline. Both teams now in the bonus. That was actually the foul to give. So the Nets still need to inbound this ball. And it'll be a... Well, oh my goodness. Are you fucking serious? There's an offensive foul on D'Angelo Russell. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. This is the ultimate tanking effort. So a 4-point game. They want a flagrant. That would make it very interesting, but it doesn't look like the official's going to look at it. So the Sixers have the ball with 16 seconds left and only down 4. They've got to score quickly here, and they're going to look for Grimes, who's going to pull up for 3, and is short on it. They get the offensive rebound. They save it. George picks up his dribble. Edwards has got to put one up. It's an air ball. And the Nets are going to win. So they escape. They get out of the woods. It was not a convincing ending. But yet the Nets have won 6 of the last 7 games. They've not done that since December of 2023. 100-66. 96. I can't even read. That was one of the most tumultuous endings to a game that I've seen in quite some time. The Nets were up by like 10 when they brought their third stringers in with 40 seconds left, and you actually thought that they could have blown it. If the Sixers made a 3-pointer there, the Nets would have had every opportunity to turn the ball over, and the Sixers would have had every opportunity to win the game. But the game ends with the Nets having a slight edge over the Sixers, and their defense was their hallmark, the hallmark of this win today, which is not remotely surprising at all. The Sixers did go on a late quarter run, but ultimately it's not going to count for much with, you know, the final result saying it all. They win. And let me just have a quick look at the box score. Claxton was elite. 5 blocks today to go with 13 points. I wish I could show you the box score, but it is deciding to be an absolute prick. So we'll just leave it on my beautiful face and I will read it out. So the Nets 6 wins in 7 games. We are now tied up with the Sixers for record. We've won our 9th game of the season at home. Paul George had 2 points. The Sixers had 2 players with 30, and not one of them was Paul George. Grimes and Oubre with 30, Edwards with 13 off the bench. Why on earth has that happened there with the box score? Okay, we've had it updated. As you can see though, yeah, Grimes and Oubre, they shot the ball superbly. Edwards with 13. But outside of that, they got 8 points and 9 assists from Butler. He didn't shoot it well. Paul George, 2 points, 1 of 7. And well, the ultimately the separating factor for the Nets today, 8 more attempts and 8 more makes for Brooklyn. They made the same amount of threes, but just shot that ball a little bit better. Sixers made more free throws, but the turnovers were heavily slated in Philly's favor until the end, where the Nets turned it over a few times carelessly. D'Lo ends with 24, Watford with the 18, Claxton had 13 and 11, a double-double to go with 5 blocks and 3 very pretty assists. And we had 3 players, should I say, 3 players with 3 or more steals. We had 13 steals and 6 blocks in the game. That is a monumental defensive effort. And I think it should be also not ignored. Trenton Watford's 18 points to go with those 3 steals, a block and 2 assists. And Day'Ron Sharp's 8 points and 9 rebounds to go with a steal in 14 minutes. They are some very, very productive minutes. Trenton Watford's 18 only coming in 24 minutes and on 8 shots. So those two were superb off the bench yet again. They've been a very nice 1-2 punch and have yet again combined for above 20 points. If we look at the team stats, well, points in the paint, we had 62 points in the paint, so that has become a comprehensive, become a part of our shot profile comprehensively. The fast break points favored Philly, but we did well to hold them for the most part. Didn't get too many points off turnovers, but it was the steals and the blocks, as I've said, which well and truly funded our win today. We also were plus 12 on the glass and plus 7 in offensive rebounds, 16 offensive rebounds total. That has been a huge part of, especially the last 3 wins, because we have had above 15 rebounds offensively in each of those games and have exceeded 50 rebounds in each of those games. So that is giving us a lot more opportunity to score the ball. And that is just, that's placing us in good stead to win the game. We aren't shooting the ball particularly well from 3, but the field goal percentage, as I said, we've scored 62 points in the paint. So, I feel like Jordi Fernandez will be pretty happy with that. Only 8 made threes, but off the back of having a good balance of 3s to 2s, and finding the high percentage look, that has allowed us to get the victory quite nicely. So that is where we sit. Let me just have a quick look here. Offensive rebounds. Dayron had another 4 offensive rebounds today, and Claxton had 7. So those two have been working incredibly hard on the glass. Dayron was a plus 13 in his minutes compared to Claxton a -1. So another interesting watch with the plus minus there. But overall, that is the first win in the season series for the Nets against Philly. I always hate playing this mob. Whoever's available, but pretty happy with the result in the sense that it's another good defensive performance, and that is something that you definitely want to hang your hat on, especially when you do not have a lot of talent in the world. It's not great that we're winning these games, especially given Philly were 1 position ahead of us in the standings, but what can you do? I'm not going to have a sook about it. I'm just going to appreciate the fact that we put in a pretty good defensive performance today and we got some reward for effort. So that's the ball game. That's the ball game. Just going to have to live with it, and that'll do it. So we're done here for now. The next game's in 8 days against the Cavaliers. So subscribe if you want to stay notified for when that stream goes live. And drop a like on the way out. But until then, have a good next week or so. Stay safe. We'll chat to you soon. But bye for now. Have a good one.